Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Friar Podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Billy Ricci, joined by the great Kevin Farrahar, FriarBasketball.com. And today, we have a special edition because we're in person, we're live from Steve Napolillo's office here in Friartown, probably one of the most iconic places in all of Rhode Island other than Twin Oaks. We got Nap to my right, and we have the 16th head men's basketball coach in Providence College history to my left, Kim English. I'd like to welcome you guys to the show and ready to just have a conversation about Providence basketball and Providence athletics today. Guys?
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Cool. So, Nap, we'll kick it to you first, right? I've known you for a while. We've seen a lot of change at PC through the years. You know, when I was first going to games in the Big East, you'd see a lot of opposing gear. Fan attendance was good, but it's not where it was today. There's so many people that have been involved over so many years that have been in the athletic department that have helped kind of cultivate this culture and this ability to take us from, we're getting there to now we're here, right? What does it feel like now that you're AD, like that we're here and we've had as much success as we've seen?
We never hear, Billy. I think one of the things that makes us great is every day we say, how do we strive for excellence to get better? If you ever think you arrive, that's when you fail. So I think you really take a look back every day to appreciate all the people who got us to this point, and then you challenge yourself every day to get better and what's it going to take to win championships. And I think the key to everything, if you look at the history of Providence College, what's made it so special is people. And as the athletic director, I take it very seriously as every day it's a gift that I've been blessed to be able to come in here and be part of helping our student athletes strive for greatness. And it really is on me to work with my administration, coaches, Father Sicard, to make sure all of us are on the same page, that we know our mission, we know what we're striving to be, we don't make excuses, and we are every day bringing in people who believe that they can win the right way and win big at Providence College. And I can say, when I met Coach Kim, I mean it when people ask me this. We had an instant connection. I'm a huge people person, and I love seeing it. And, we're still undefeated. I always tell Coach Kim is when the ball goes up in the air, people are going to start judging on us on wins and losses. But when you ask me, from the amazing job he's done of galvanizing this team, keeping these players, the excitement in the community. Wherever you go, people are so fired up for this year, and what he stands for is, I'm really excited for all the fans and everybody who loves Friartown. Great days ahead.
And Steve, this was such a big hiring Kim. At that point, it was just, pressure cooker for you at the time, and you had said to me before that you knew within 5 minutes of meeting Kim, like this was the guy. So what made him the right guy, and how did you know right away?
Kev, it was such a unique time because, you were trying to balance so many things. Everything was in the media. You don't know what's going on in the sense of what's, people are trying to say, hey, what's going on? And what I always say about Coach Kim is I love people who believe in themselves, who do it in a way that it's about the team. It's about being great. And we just talked about, Providence College. We talk about it every day. It's like Providence College is a special place. There's so many, how many times has Kim said, this place is special. And when you talk about it, it's having people who have that belief. I could tell as I'm a huge believer in watching young men and women, they want to believe in the person who's coaching them. And just the time we spent with each other. And when he came on campus and we had dinner with Father Sicard, it was the easiest hire in the sense of like, all right, we're ready, let's go. And, the biggest gift I think people don't give Coach Kim is he's made me more of a spiritual person. As you guys know, I went through a real tough year losing my dad. Every morning he sends me scripture that I read and I digest. Sometimes we even argue about what it's saying. He has to help me through that. But those are little things that coaches brought to Friartown that are really special.
And what do you think it was about Kim that, I mean, I felt like the fan base bought in right away. Like the first press conference, I felt like people were kind of sold at that point.
I mean, if you look at his history, he's won everywhere.
Yeah.
I always say, as people tease me as, Mike Tringisi and fellow ADs ask me all the time when I took the job, is you got to be ready. Someone can get sick, someone can get a job.
Yep.
And there really was. I looked at a Sports Illustrated article, a top 10, and he stuck out, and I followed him that year. And you look as a player, what he did at Missouri, going to the NBA, his story overseas, just how he built up. And then when I talked to Coach Barnes, I have so much respect for Coach Barnes because he loved Providence College to this day. And just, Kim and I just hit it off. And every day I go to bed, I'll never forget my father was asking me with him and Coach Bath. He's like, I was talking to him. I said, Dad, I really think these coaches are my one. I was like, Steve, you sold me in 2 minutes. He's like, you're making the right hire. So I just think he is a gifted young coach who's going to do things that are going to bring us to levels that are going to make Friartown proud.
Perfect transition to bringing it back to 2012. You win a championship with Missouri. You had an interview with Holly Rowe after the game. We posted it on the in the Instagram channel. I got a lot of love, but you sounded like a coach back then. You gave shout out to the players, to the coaches, to everybody on the staff that kind of led to the success. Was leadership always sort of innate for you and like something that's been a part of your life, or is it something that you kind of had to work towards?
Yeah, I think it's something you build. I think it comes, naturally if you're passionate about something. If you want to be successful as a leader, to serve is the best trait, as a leader. So, I'll step up and take all the blame for any shortcomings that we might have. But, our successes are going to belong to our guys, our staff, this athletic department, the leadership, at this college, our students, because this thing really is a machine, and it's an engine that's powerful and it is special. And I didn't know how special it was until I got here, but every day I get to see it, and I'm reminded of how special. And that's not going to stop, thankfully. In 80 some odd days when we're tipping it up on November 6th, I'm going to get to see another level of how special this place is. So I'm really excited. Been very fortunate to be at some great places, some great institutions with some great teammates, great players, great coaches, great administrators, and I'm really excited to continue on, to what PC has built over the last decade plus.
So we came from practice today. We were very lucky to join a practice with some season ticket holders and sponsors and great people in the Friar community. We saw out there your leadership style, right? You let your assistants jump right into practice. You play with the guys, right? It's almost like you partner with them in that leadership, right? You want everybody to be a leader on the floor. What is the strategy and what's sort of the mindset around making everybody a leader on the floor? You said like speaking up, like that was a big thing.
Yeah, it's important. First and foremost, player-led teams are better than coach-led teams. I only get the game from one angle. On that sideline, from the coach's box to the baseline, from my seat. That's the only angle I see. It's some things out there when you're in the thick of it that only they can see or hear or feel. And I need them to feel strongly about communicating that with me. And as far as my staff goes, I want them to think like head coaches. I want them to think like this is their program and their lives depend on it. Outside of my relationship with God, my daughters, my family, there's nothing more I care about in the world than Providence basketball. Nothing. Not even close. Nothing I want to be more successful. The most ardent Providence fan for 60 years, season ticket holder, doesn't care about Providence basketball more than I do. And I want my assistants to feel that same passion and commitment and ownership to it. When people feel valued, they do care more and give more.
Absolutely.
And one guy who stood out to me was just Josh Adoro. it was almost this, you could feel this like calm leadership presence to him. Is he someone that you see as one of the leaders of the team? I'd love to hear more just about his personality too.
Yeah, absolutely. He's an incredible leader in every facet. There's few guys you get to coach over your career that might make you choke up on senior night. He's going to be one of them. There's been a few that I've coached that are just that special. Shaquille Harrison at Tulsa, McKinley Wright at Colorado. I just missed Grant Williams at Tennessee. Josh Aduro at George Mason, and Josh Aduro here, Devin Carter here. Bryce Hopkins has that ability and upside, is that special of a player. But Josh is, I'm so fortunate, to bring those guys that have played for me for the last 2 years, because they know what it should look like. They know what it should sound like for us, what we value, our value system, and the elite mindset.
And how's that process been as far as, Ticket and Josh and Justin coming in and saying, oh, here's how we do things here, with the guys here being receptive?
Yeah, it's not really about, right, this is how it doesn't need to be said, right? Okay. We're not practicing. We're coming into, we didn't come into a place where a team failed and the coach got fired. We came into a team a great success, but it's just, this is how we do things. And it's at an elite standard. Like, I don't think it would be any different than they do things or the things they value at the Golden State Warriors or the Milwaukee Bucks or FC Barcelona. It's just our standard, and it's good enough. It's good enough anywhere we go, So I'm just those guys have just done it, and they haven't batted an eye. They don't complain. They've been great.
And as far as Ticket goes, he reminds me a little bit. I think I've watched a bunch of your games in the last couple of years, just his energy, but. 2 years ago, PC had Al Durham and Justin Minai, who I thought came in at just the right time. They kind of did all the individual stuff, and it was just about winning. And I feel like when I watch Ticket, he just makes a ton of winning plays. Would love to just hear more about him as a player and as a person.
Al from Indiana, Justin from South Carolina. I got to coach against Minai when I was at Tennessee, actually. Ticket he's in my 9 years in coaching, he's the only guy I've coached all 4 years. And it's going to be 5. I coached him 2 years at Tennessee, 2 years at George Mason, and now for a 5th season. So again, we're very connected. He knows what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing. He knows all of our positions, 1 through 5, rotations. And he's just, again, a great defender and a great shooter. Just a guy you want to have on the court. I think we can have some really good defensive lineups with Ticket, Devin, Garway, Jaden, Josh. We can put some really good defensive groups out there. Corey Floyd. So really excited.
When we look at a guy like Bryce, right? He had a couple of 2020 games. He looked really good. He looked very lean and strong in practice today. He can already do so many things. What makes you most excited to kind of take him to that All-American type status this season?
Yeah, it's exciting to see him finding flow and finding opportunities in our offense, and we really haven't put in much offense yet. It's freedom, it's principles right now. Yeah. We're not running set plays to get you a shot to a spot. It's just learning the flow. And he's been great. You're receptive. He has the freedom to play all over the court. He can set ball screens. He can come off ball screens. He can rebound and go. Obviously, he can offensive rebounds. He can play in the post. He's a guy that can just play all over the court. He's a guy that can defend all over the court. So excited to play him at the 3, at the 4, at the 5. We can play some small ball lineups where we can create some matchup problems with him at the 5.
And Nap, to keep guys like Bryce and to have a stacked roster here in Friartown, NIL has obviously been a big part of the landscape, right? We happen to know the Friar Family Collective a little bit, B-Cat, Alex Vicera, we've worked with them a little bit recently on a podcast with Corey Floyd. Would you mind just kind of talking a little bit about the NIL landscape and how awesome it is to have those guys in the fold?
Yeah, first, anyone who's watching this, we need your support. At the end of the day is, in the new landscape of college athletics, name, image, and likeness is a critical part of everything we do. It is what it is. I think we're grateful to the Friar Family Collective, everybody who supports it, but the keys are sustainability and doing it every year and make sure, we give coach the tools to be successful. And it's been awesome. We've had great support. We're doing it at elite level, the Friar Family Collective. We talk about it. They're really, from top to bottom, doing it in a professional way, giving our student athletes the opportunity to obviously earn a lot of money on their name, image, and likeness, but also doing it as coach. Wearing the Providence jersey is a huge thing for us. And coach talks to our guys all the time is, we're going to do a lot in the community. We're going to do a lot to help, brand Providence. And Billy, the days where we're going to say name, image, and likeness, we're going to continue to do this. We're going to ask our fans, our supporters, continue to support it, and we're going to do it at an elite level.
Steve, is there any way to gauge, because this is all private, I assume, to gauge how you're doing in comparison to Big East teams, or is it?
I think, we're on AD calls all the time, Kev. We talk about our challenges, and Coach, he's obviously talking to his fellow coaches. But, when you talk about gauging, there's always going to be teams that might pay, numbers. Coach and I have conversations all the time of who he wants, how we're going to be successful, and you keep moving from there.
Kim, I'd love to talk a little bit about some of the guys who were here that you inherited, and also some of the freshmen as well. One thing that I'm really excited about is just the potential you mentioned, but the potential length in the backcourt you could have, and just the defensive upside as far as I see. I know Garwey will have some, learning to do as a freshman, but just his physical tools next to Devin. We'd love to hear just your thoughts about the potential of your backcourt defensively.
Yeah, if I just talk about the four, kind of if you're thinking 1, 2, Garwey, Jaden, Devin, and Corey. No small guards. They could size up, and Corey, the way the game is going, Corey could guard most fours. His physicality, Devin can guard most because they're just so tough and physical. We'll always have great length and toughness and defense, and I'm optimistic about the shooting in the backcourt. Love where we are. I think Jaden is ready, to take a big jump. I loved what he did in film last season. As I watched games, I wanted him to play. I felt myself wanting to see him more. I wanted to see him more. He just made such a pop and an impact on the game. 2 assists a game and 10 minutes a game, or I think he was like 2.9 in 10 minutes a game or something like that. Yeah. His assist rate was incredible. Garwey is a natural. He's just a natural. Defensively, offensively, he sees things on the court that most people don't see, some things you can't. Coach, Corey Floyd, very tough, competitive, athletic, and I think he's an elite shooter. He shot the ball consistently well this spring and summer for us. And he shot the ball a good clip last season, just not a lot of attempts. And Devin Carter has been one of my favorite players I've got to coach. He's just a throwback, tough guard. Yeah. It's going to find a way to have a long career in the NBA just because he's so tough and so smart and naturally gifted.
Yeah, PC fans love Devin. He became huge right away. As far as Jaden, he seems like we didn't see it much because he didn't play a lot. I kind of live in the prep and high school world, so I see it a lot. But he seems like kind of an energy giver too. Like a potential leader.
He's a great leader. He's a great leader. Yeah. He's a great leader. That was something we noticed right away. Naturally gets it. Our practices need to get more enthused, but the spring was a lot of energy. But he met the bar and was very good. And you want that. You want, your point guard to be one of your best leaders, and especially a young point guard, someone that's going to continue to grow. He's up there on our team as far as work ethic, and he's up there on our team as far as leadership. So
great student too.
He's the best. I met his mom the other day, and his little brother was at our camp, and just talking to his mom, like you couldn't ask for a better kid. Mm-hmm. Like honestly, 1 through 14 on our roster. If my daughters were older, they were 18. If they brought any of our guys home, I don't know if Nap, you feel the same way. Nap's a little more protective than me, maybe. I'd be thrilled. Yeah. Seriously, 1 through 14, a great group of guys.
Jaden's a businessman too. He's got his own business, societies. Jaden really is a total package coach.
He is a great kid.
When you sit him down, Kev, he really is a special young man.
He's a great kid.
Speaking of the business side of it, season tickets. I have my own season tickets. It's going to be harder to move them because we got a lot of season ticket holders these days, right? How have you seen that side of Friartown change where, we don't have as many single game tickets to move and, suites are selling out and it's just, you got to pre-plan for games and ticket packages just to, make sure that there's inventory out there.
I just think the excitement in Friartown, no matter where you go, I was telling Kim last night, I had to go to Target. My son, get baseball cards now. You got to go late at night when they put them out. He wanted some 2023s. We're in Target. Somebody just runs up to me. They didn't even know they said they were, season ticket holder. They're like, we love Coach English. I think the excitement, Billy, to sell out the building is awesome. The students are, every student wants to go, but the excitement is what I'm really, 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 really proud of for Friartown, no matter where you go. And, Coach English, I give him all the credit because in life, no matter what it is, you got to believe. Like, hope to me is one of the greatest gifts in life. And what he has done with his coaching staff and to galvanize this whole community the last 4 months, it's pretty special. And we're living it every day. We're going to Spain next week. The donors today are just so excited. So I'm really excited about where we're going, but I'm most excited for all the people who are part of this. And Coach Kim, grateful to the tone he set in a short period of time.
It's so interesting, right? Like, I'll be at a game and I'll look up in the crowd and you'll see somebody from Rhode Island who maybe went to another school, right? And you'd be like, oh, you would have, I didn't know that you went to PC games, right? It's become just such a part of the Rhode Island culture overall. The billboard, right? When you come into Prov, welcome to Friartown, right? It's become Rhode Island's sort of, central sport to watch. And you mentioned the Spain trip, right? I want to talk to both of you about the Spain trip, right? First on the Nap side, but like, it takes some resources and it takes some things to plan something like a Spain trip. But from your perspective, it's got to be more than worth it, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like we said, we're going to do everything at an elite level. You can do it every 4 years. What I'm most excited about, Coach and I talk about this all the time, it's a perfect time when you have a new coaching staff for everybody to get a chance to bond. Gives him an opportunity to let his guys play. But from Father Sicard's coming to Father Noel to a bunch of donors to my family to coaches' families. And I just think it's a really, really great time to go on the road and really build a community. And a lot of great teams have used this as an opportunity to really start something special. I'm sure you feel the same.
Yeah, my freshman year we did it. We took a foreign tour. Now they were my senior year in high school. They were a 16-16 team, and some freshmen came in, some returners were there. We won 31 games, won the Big 12 championship, went to the Elite Eight. I'll take that. I'll take that right now if that's going to be the outcome. But
of course.
The 2008 Celtics, they went and played preseason in Italy or France, wherever it was. The basketball is great. We'll be able to get film, teach, playing against pros, but the time that the guys are forced to spend with each other, so important. Post-COVID, our players are used to being isolated. They're used to being alone in their rooms, on their phones. When we go and eat on the road, there are no phones. We because it's the most important thing you have in college basketball is how together you are. And it's been the biggest focus of ours this spring through the summer to now. We have to get this team connected at a way that they haven't, that we want to be, just way we want to be.
And let people know, Billy and Kevin, is we checked into streaming games. We have the great Nick Rojas. He'll be on the trip.
Shout out, Nick.
It's just in those gyms and stuff, it's really hard to make sure that you can do it. So Nick will be taking highlights to send back to Friar fans on social media. But I know I get people tweeting at me, emailing me about why we're not streaming every day. And
two reasons. You don't want to have a bad product. You don't want to have a bad product. You don't want to show crappy, bad, blotchy. And November 6th, we want to, have a surprise. We don't want anybody scouting us.
Yeah.
They have to. So
shout out PC Athletics real quick on the post recently of Friars who played in Spain. We've got some great throwbacks there, like Jeff McDermott.
Right?
Jeff McDermott,
Ben
Jeff
Bentil.
Xavier, Randall Hankey, Ben Bentil. It was just cool to see all the guys who played in Spain at the highest level.
Yeah. So Kim, talking about scouting, I would love to learn more about your staff, your assistants. I think a big thing Billy and I want to get out of this was just make it kind of an opportunity for Friar fans to learn more about not only the players coming in, but your staff. So we'd love to start with Dennis Felton. I know some of the fans who have been here for a while remember Dennis from the 90s, but I just loved his presence today in practice, loved his voice. We'd love to learn more about him and what you've learned from him.
Yeah, he's a great teacher. I got to work with, I played against him in college. He was the head coach at Georgia my freshman year. He was with the San Antonio Spurs my NBA draft year. So he led a pre-draft interview. And when I tell you he was grilling me, I mean, absolutely grilling me in that pre-draft workout in San Antonio. I got to work with him at the University of Tulsa.
Okay.
We parted ways. He went on to be a head coach at Cleveland State. I went on to work at Colorado, Tennessee. And then when I got the opportunity at George Mason, he was one of my first phone calls. He's a pro's pro, 30 years in this business, 30 plus, a ton of success. He is absolutely relentless in recruiting. He's relentless in his player development. He's relentless in his game preparation and just getting the guys better. He works with our bigs predominantly. And the growth that I've seen from our front court players the last 2 years has been astronomical. And it's just, he's relentless. He doesn't stop, and he's a pro's pro. He's seen it all. And, when I became a head coach, it was important to me to have someone on my staff that could help me with blind spots. I would have been foolish if I was thinking I'm going into a thing and, had everything figured out. And he's been great for me. And we go at it. We absolutely go at it in meetings. But when we walk on the court, it's a unified front. And that's what I want. I really want my staff to challenge me in all my thoughts. Because I think that's the only way we can come out with the best outcome for us.
Kim, one of the things that really attracted me to Kevin, was that he had the self-awareness when I was looking at staffs and people. As a young guy, even for me, as a first-year AD, you really use mentors. To see that Kim knew he needed a guy like Dennis Felton, to me, is a really key quality in a person. And I'm like Kim. It's like Dennis, if you look at, it's pretty special. I think that, in his speech today, he talked about what Providence means to him, cutting by the neck. But it's also a key character instinct and on Kim, that we all need great people around us to challenge us to be better every day.
And Steve, what have his conversations with you been like? I mean, obviously, night and day. I was here in the late 90s, early 2000s. Obviously, the facilities you can't even compare. But would love to hear just what his initial impressions were when he first saw this place.
Well, Coach Kim could tell you, I'm always talking about gratitude. Every day's a gift. I had Dennis actually speak at one of my all-staff meetings, get up just to say, I know if you're working here, you might not really think that walking into these buildings every day, walking on campus, he goes, I was here where there was nothing. Yeah. And it was really powerful for everybody. I don't care what coach you were, and he did an amazing job. And I think when you have that perspective, not just from basketball, but when you have someone like Dennis who's kind of seen this really evolve to where it is, it makes other people say, oh, wow. Yeah. Think about that. Yeah. Think about where PC is and where it was and where we want to go.
No, for that era of Friar basketball, Rick Barnes, Dennis, Danny Gavitt, Larry Shyatt, Frank Fischel, for those guys that have 5, 6 NBA players in that era. Yeah. And you hear the stories. They had to hide campus. They had to bring kids in at nighttime. They had to things we don't do. We can't wait to give kids tours of campus in this facility. It's so comfortable, and it's this place has evolved so much, and I just hear from stories. And I'm fortunate that I know Larry Shyatt and Rick Barnes and Dennis Felton. So I know those stories well.
We want to talk about Tim Fuller. He's at the NBA draft with the Thompson twins. Yeah. He, has those connections, through OTE, and he's just interesting. I was watching him at practice. He was stoked. He was like studying everything and writing everything down. And it was just he had like an aura to him.
Yeah. Well, he's learning our system. Tim, he coached me 11 years ago. He was associate head coach at Missouri when we were 30-4, Big 12 champions. He was our top guy. I mean, our top guy, bar none. 10 years later, he was with Patino at Louisville. He was a head rep at Nike on the pro side, and has been with OTE. So he's getting back to learning our system, but he's super smart. He played at Wake Forest with Tim Duncan, graduate of Wake Forest, was a walk-on there. He's just the ultimate grinder. Very, very, very smart, and connected in the industry, connected to prospects and connected to our players. And I just had the best of memories about him. When I was, I thought back to the best team I've ever been on, my senior season. And I've been trying to recreate that amount of selflessness and competitiveness and toughness in a group since. And I haven't been able to find it. With the Pistons in Europe, Tulsa, Tennessee, Colorado, Georgia, I haven't been able to find that team yet. I've been searching for it. It's my nirvana. Like, I want that team again. And the fact to bring someone back that was, with me in that moment, it's been great.
And Nate Tomlinson.
Nate he's the best. He's one of my best friends. I've known him since 2007 when we were in New England playing prep school basketball. He was at Lee Academy. I was at Notre Dame Prep. He was another senior like me going to the Big 12. He was going to Colorado. I was going to Missouri. So we got to compete against each other in high school. We got to compete against each other for 3 years in college. Conference realignment hit. And then ironically, his Buffaloes moved to the Pac-12. He won a Pac-12 championship his senior year, the same year we won a Big 12 championship. He went to play 6 years pro in Australia. We reconnected on staff at Colorado, worked together closely for just one season. When I moved on to Tennessee, we stayed connected. We actually scheduled a series, Tennessee-Colorado, a 3-game series that we didn't get to coach in because we left for George Mason. So we left Rick Barnes and Tad Boyle to. Oh no, we did. We played him once. We won. But he's super smart. On both sides of the ball. With us, Dennis keeps his eyes on defense. Nate on the offensive side of the ball. Tim rebounding. He's very, very smart. He will be a Division I head coach soon. He could be an NBA head coach shortly after. He's brilliant, coach's son, and a very aggressive and a relentless recruiter as well.
Very nice. Nap, in terms of the things you do in the community, you do a lot. PC, the PC brand goes a long way. I love the work you guys do with the Wish Come True, especially on game days. Do you mind just talking about some things that you guys have done in the community recently, or some plans for the future?
I think Coach and I are on the same page, and every discussion we had to start off, we have daily, is how do you give back? How do you make an impact? How do you make a difference? And we just had a special event last week that Coach was a part of with his team. And, when you're standing there, a dad got up and spoke. His 15-year-old son had brain cancer. And we take for granted the gift of life. And it really hit me this year, losing my pops, is you get in those moments where you have something special, but when it's taken away from you, and I listened to this dad, and Kim and I are aligned on a lot of things, but we're not more aligned on anything more than anything we can do to help people. Him and I know, and that's Providence College. I think that's something that's made Providence College for 100 years. I think it's why it's a special place, the core of what it stands for. And you have to have gratitude. You have to realize that the gift of sitting here with you to talk about how special Providence College is something. And we're always going to do as much as we can. And it's something that we get more out of than I think we can. 100%.
But to whom much is given, much is expected. It's foundational, to us. Like, it's not about us. It's not about me. It's not about us. We are so thankful and fortunate. By the grace of God, it's our duty to give back as much as we can. And Nav's done a great job. Everyone here at the college is giving time, resources, opportunity, experiences. It's foundational. It's foundational. It's a part of the mission, of the college and the order. I mean, it's the order. I mean, you talk about we get a front row seat to some of the most selfless people in the world. Mm-hmm. Our Dominican friars. Live simply, give, and we're very fortunate.
Time, treasure, and love, and we try to tell our young men and women it really is more gratifying when you give than you receive. It's incredible as you get older. It takes time as you mature, but it really is PC.
It all goes back to basketball. I mean, that's the way we want to play. Defensively, having your teammates back, helping a teammate, being more excited about an assist and a basket. The way and you get to test it, right? You have a really bad game. You're 1 for 9 tonight.
Probably was.
But we won, right? What's your mindset and attitude in the locker room? Are you moping in your chair? But that guy who doesn't get to play a lot, he was 5 for 5, and it was the first 3-pointer he made in his career, and his family was at the game. How are you presenting yourself to him? That's the most important thing.
So what? Now what, baby?
That's right.
Good game, Steve.
We won.
I have just one more. It's general, but just I think important. Steve, just your excitement. There was so much going on in the spring, right before Kim came in, and with Kim coming in. But can you put into words just how excited you are for where we landed and where we're going?
Yeah, as I said, every day I'm fired up to get up and keep it going. But my excitement is for all the people who give their money, their love, their passion, because hope and believing in something is one of the greatest gifts. And that's why I'm so excited to have Coach English sitting here with me, because realistically, I'm just a conduit to help get somewhere. Coach English came in and he is the sign of hope that Friar Town needed during a difficult time. And I'm a huge believer, Kevin. The past is the past. The future is the future. And that's where my focus is. That's what Coach and I talk every day about. We have an amazing opportunity to do something special. I have a teammate who wants to be here. I have a teammate who believes in me. I believe in him. And we believe where we are. We believe we're at a special place and that we can accomplish great things. And I'm just really excited for everybody in Friar Town.
I'm gonna ask some fun ones, Dan, here. Since you've made the move to Rhode Island, what's been your favorite place you visited in Little Rhodey?
Oh man, I really love landing here on an airplane. Yeah. And getting to get a good, and as I've learned the topography and how to get around and stay looking and seeing where I'm, but proximity to the ocean, I love.
Yeah.
The country club, thankfully, the college got, me on it.
It's good golfer. Good golfer, Bill.
No, I'm not a good golfer. Warwick Country Club. I get to, and when I'm playing golf there, relaxing with my daughters, I feel like I'm on vacation. Mm-hmm. And you can't beat that, Musquamaket, Narragansett, Newport. There's some great places, and it's a short drive, so I love that. But the most special thing about this place, I'm serious, it's the college, and it's the excitement that we have. Like, people say, what makes it great? Why is this a great job? Season tickets are sold out. Like, it's arguably the best home court advantage in the Big East Conference. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a great, players want that. Players don't want to play in empty NBA arenas. They want to play in packed venues that are loud and responsive, and you win. And, the atmosphere when the students are on campus, it's like, I've been to some great places. Tennessee, Missouri, Colorado, the atmosphere on campus is incredible. Mm-hmm. But when you drive around this campus, no fraternities or sororities, the students are so connected and together, and I've not experienced it. I've not experienced it, and it is special. This college is my favorite place about Little Rhodey.
Pretty crazy, Bill. Just the last week we were doing the student lottery, and we wish we had tickets we have 1,800 tickets for 4,200 students, and the passion every student want to go to a game. It really is, we've talked about this, the articles is, talking to the Dukes in Kansas, how you have to do the lotteries. Coach and I are talking about how do we try to get the seniors to get to games. I mean, it's rarefied air. We talk about there's a lot of schools in the country who got to have these problems. I don't know if they'd want the emails, but they like the problems, right, Coach?
I don't know yet. I'll figure out what my ticket allotment is, and I'm going to personally give students my tickets to games. I won't be able to. I don't know what I get, 15, 20, whatever it is, but I'm going to give some tickets to students this year to every game. I'll give students tickets to every game. Just don't go crazy with the tall boys in the family section. That's all I can ask.
Makes me want to be a student again. Did you give him some good Rhode Island food recommendations when he got here?
Yeah, he still hasn't eaten. My mom's got to have him over for dinner. That's the one last one. She's dying to have him over. But yeah, I mean, Kim's loving Rhode Island. I think we've gone to a bunch of places. We love to. We've gone to donor events. As he said, we've had a bunch of golf outings, and there's so many great restaurants. It'll take him a full year to. We've got two beautiful daughters who would melt your hearts when you see them, and they're big swimmers. They love the pool.
They've been in the pool or the ocean every day for the last 14 days. Every day. Yeah. So, a lot of great food. I mean, I live downtown. I walk to places every night. It's great. Yeah, I'm starting to venture down to East Greenwich more. The restaurants down there.
Yeah.
Food's awesome. Italian food's great. I've lived in Italy, and the Italian food's good. So,
You heard it here, people. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. This was awesome. Kim, it was great to just sit down and get to know you a little bit more. Nap, thank you as always. You run the show here in Friartown. We know the deal. On behalf of Kevin and I, go Friars.
We appreciate your love and passion, guys. Thanks for all you do to build the brand. Thank you.